Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital Detective Harrison Chase is determined to destroy Michael Corinthos' justification. That means he needs to discredit Jacinda Bracken and prove she was aunt with Michael at the time of the firing. We're going to talk about where Jacinda was and who she was really with when Drew Kane Quartermain was shot. Because we all know she was aunt with Michael. General Hospital Chase is on the case, so, right now, Chase is busy probing Willow Tate's case in his free time, indeed though the PCPD has decided that Willow is the shooter. Chase explosively believes that High's ex-wife Willow is unable of trying to kill notoriety. Chase also insists that Willow is a good person and a loving mama and has no history of violence. Meanwhile, Chase knows sharp well that Michael does have a history of violence and he has killed someone before. However, as a youthful man, Michael bludgeoned his mammy Claudia Zachara to death, if you recall. But she had it coming. Michael only did it to stop Claudia from abducting his baby family, Jocelyn Jacks. Despite that, Michael was condemned and transferred to Pentonville General Hospital. Michael raised in the mob, plus, he was raised by Tuffy Sonny Corinthos and exposed to violence his whole life, literally from the cradle. Because his first surrogate pater was hitman Jason Morgan. So, yeah, Chase thinks Michael is able of shooting his uncle Drew. And he also thinks Michael is able of framing Willow. And at least half of that's true. So, Chase made it his particular charge to get justice for Willow, indeed though his woman, Brooklyn Quartermain, is ain't happy about it. Neither is Dante Falconeri. And some other people that are close to him do ain't like it. Moreover, unraveling Michael's alibi on GH, is Ezra Boyle the secret client? Lately, Chase told Alexis Davis that he's been digging into Michael's justification. And she's happy about that. Chase is certain that Jacinda is lying to cover for Michael. And Chase suspects she was with another customer when Drew was shot. And that means she cannot be Michael's justification. Right now, Chase wants to find Jacinda's customer and destroy Michael's justification. That will take Willow from the top suspect that the PCPD has and force them to look at Michael. Because why arrange a fake justification from ex-girl Jacinda unless you're shamefaced? I feel like Port Charles megacity councilman and mayoral seeker Ezra Boyle is back on the General Hospital oil for a reason right now. And yeah, I know it's election time in Port Charles. And he and Laura Spencer are in a tight race, but I suppose there's further to him being back. I suspect Ezra is the one Jacinda was with when Drew was shot. Ezra's connection to Jacinda on General Hospital. So, if you recall, when Jacinda first came on the General Hospital scene, she was introduced as Ezra's favorite companion. And that was back when Nina Reeves and Portia Robinson had the bright idea to hire Jacinda to medicine Drew with ketamine and party with him in public. Jacinda had Drew doing body shots off of her while everybody was rephotographing and snapping snaps. And that redounded in tawdry captions, as they hoped, but it ultimately blew up in their faces. Since Jacinda was Ezra's fave working girl, he may be a little bummed that she quit being a call girl and took Michael's offer to work at Crimson Magazine, but I do suppose that's enough for him to come clean. But Ezra is the likely customer that Jacinda was with, but exposing this would beget some big ripples. Political fallout. How the firing disquisition could ail the mayoral election. Since Chase is working so hard to find Jacinda's riddle customer, I go he's going to put the pieces together soon. However, Nina might be suitable to help him out, if Chase mentions to Nina that he's trying to break Michael's justification and is looking for Jacinda's customer. Because I'm enough sure that she knows about Jacinda and Ezra. So, formerly Chase pulls that thread, it's all going to fall piecemeal for Michael. Not only could Chase save Willow from going to captivity for a crime she didn't commit, but Chase could actually save Laura's re-election crusade right as effects are looking really dire for her. Lately, she skipped the mayoral debate. Because her grandson Rocco Falconeri was arrested for breaking into Professor Hank Dalton's lab. And Ezra is going to make a big deal of Laura skipping the debate to deal with her felonious grandson, who's also the grandson of crime master Sonny. He'll make it look really bad. So, if Chase reveals that Jacinda was with Ezra when Drew was shot, well, that should ruin Ezra's mayoral crusade. He wouldn't have the reason of being on ketamine when he was doing body shots and thingamabob with Jacinda like Drew did. So, that means Chase may also actually save the day for Laura and she'll be re-elected as mayor. So, that would kind of be Chase doing top-notch service for his community. A bittersweet outcome for Drew and Michael's crumbling defense on GH. It would be ironic because it would be a bittersweet outgrowth for Drew. A good news, bad news thing. Good news because Drew will be happy that Michael has no justification for the firing and Drew can go ahead with falsely criminating Michael. Because he'll have no defense for where he was because he was right outside the house. Also good news because Willow would be off the hook and that's what Drew wants. But it's also bad news for Drew. Because his sleazy confidant Ezra wouldn't be tagged mayor and can't be Drew's original speed to do his bidding. But I'm laying that Drew would rather have Michael in captivity and Willow vindicated than have the mayor in his fund. Now, unless another hint is dropped, I feel sure Ezra is going to turn out to be the riddle customer that Chase is looking for. The other day when Michael asked Jacinda if anybody can contradict her justification for him, she looked a little squirrely, but she didn't say anything. And I do suppose that she prevaricated to Michael. And Jacinda presumably thinks it'll no way come out. Because there's no way Ezra would confess and break her justification that she's giving him. Because that would ruin his political career. In fact, Chase may scarify up some hard substantiation like catching Jacinda and Ezra on a surveillance camera, going into a hostel at that time, or going into his apartment, commodity irrefutable. Because Ezra wouldn't cooperate. Professional and personal consequences. Will Chase's disquisition lead to apprehensions? Of course, formerly Michael finds out what Chase is over to, their fellowship may not survive. Because while I do suppose Michael shot Drew and I hope he doesn't go to captivity for it, I suppose there's a good chance he's the one framing Willow. We'll see. Perhaps Michael's just taking advantage of notoriety differently framing her, but he's enough smart. So, he may have done the frame job, but I do suppose he did the firing. Brooke Lynn was bothered that Chase was going to lose his job over this. But if Dante fires Chase for doing good police work, that would be bad optics. Especially because Dante would look corrupt. However, Michael, in the long run, if he fired Chase for chancing substantiation that intertwined his family. Indeed, if Dante suspended him, Anna Devane would presumably undo that. And I actually do suppose Dante would discipline Chase for doing good work. Willow's name cleared on GH? So, Willow might end up cleared soon and Jacinda might be outed as giving false evidence. Still, that doesn't mean Michael will fire her from Crimson or stop seeing Jacinda. I suppose Michael Legal likes Jacinda and doesn't watch that she was a coitus worker. Of course, that might not play well in guardianship court. Michael acted like he didn't care. Because he didn't suppose he'd be in guardianship court because Willow would be in captivity condemned of shooting Drew. So, he didn't suppose it would count if he was dating Annex call girl. But formerly Willow is cleared, which seems to be coming. Also Michael's going to have to re-evaluate the games he's playing, or differently he may risk losing guardianship of his kitties and his freedom. I mean, they arrested Nina for giving a false justification to her son and also arrested Willow and charged her with shooting Drew. So really, if Chase breaks his justification, also the DA and the PCPD would look loose if they do'nt turn around and arrest Jacinda for doing the same thing Nina did and charge Michael with tried murder like they did Willow. This is about to get messy, why all?